Vă spun bun găsit, dragi telespectatori, la o nouă ediție a emisiunii Viitorul, medicina holistică. Vorbim astăzi alături de doamna doctor Florinela Balan, specialist în medicina holistică, despre o temă cu totul și cu totul interesantă, și anume cele 7 oglinzi ale relaționării. Astăzi am înțeles că vom discuta despre relațiile noastre cu oamenii din jur și cum ne reflectăm pe noi înșine în aceste oglinzi, care sunt cei pe care îi întâlnim în viața noastră.
Exact, cei pe care ne întâlnim în viața noastră, nu îi întâlnim întâmplător, ei pot să fie și oglinzi pentru noi. Este foarte interesant. Acum, în fiecare moment al vieții, realitatea a ceea ce suntem noi, ce am devenit noi de fapt pe interior, ne este oglindită, adică noi suntem sprijiniți de fapt. Știți că noi nu prea ne cunoaștem, știți acest lucru, nu ne vedem, de asta mergem la psiholog ca să ne vedem. Și de cele mai multe ori primim în jurul nostru o realitate, adică persoane, unele mai apropiate, altele în alte relații, să zicem, mai îndepărtate, dar în orice caz vin înspre noi acele persoane care ne oglindesc practic ceea ce se întâmplă în interiorul nostru. Suntem ajutați, avem un fel de psihologi permanenți, ca să înțelegeți, ceva de în acest sens se lucrează. Ego-ul nostru nu prea vede, că nu ne vedem, cum spuneam, sau de cele mai multe ori nu acceptăm ceea ce vedem, că și acest lucru se întâmplă. Și atunci apar aceste oportunități, de fapt, ca noi să evoluăm, se numesc 7 oglinzi sau 7 tipare, de fapt, ale relaționării, și aș vrea deja să, fiindcă e foarte mult de lucru, să lucrăm deja cu primele oglinzi.
The ancient Essenes perhaps identified best the role of our personal relationships and categorized them. They went so far as to actually categorize 7 mysteries of relationship that we would live, each individual through the course of their lives would live simply by living life in the presence of one another. They have categorized these as mirrors. And what they remind us of is that in each moment of our life, the reality that we have become within is mirrored to us. It is a reflected reality. It is mirrored to us by the actions and the choices and the language of those around us. The first mirror of those relationships is a mirror of our presence in the moment. It's the mystery of the first mirror, what it is that we reflect to those around us in the moment. When we find ourselves surrounded by individuals and patterns of relationship and behavior with a dominant aspect of anger or rage or fear, perhaps, and the mirror works both ways. It could just as easily be joy and ecstasy and happiness in our lives. If the first mirror is at play, what we're seeing is a mirror of that which we are in the moment, that's which we are radiating to those individuals around us as they mirror or shine back to us that which has been offered, the mirror of that which we are in the moment. The second mirror of relationship is of a similar quality, although it's a little more subtle. Rather than mirroring to us what we are in the moment, the second mirror mirrors to us that which we judge in the moment. If you should find yourself surrounded by individuals who demonstrate patterns of behavior that perhaps frustrate you, push your buttons of anger or rage, and you sense that those are not your patterns, they're not you in the moment, you ask yourself, are they showing me in this moment? And you say honestly to yourself, no, then there's a good possibility they may be showing you that which you judge in the moment, the anger and the rage or the joy that you are judging in that moment. When you find many different people demonstrating the same patterns to you, many different people demonstrating their anger, their rage to you. Have you ever been angry and been in a big hurry to get somewhere and gotten into your car to drive to wherever it was you were going and found that everywhere you went, you made the wrong choices. You made the wrong choice in the in the teller line at the bank, you chose the slow line. You made the wrong choice on the exit ramp on the freeway. And everywhere when you're driving down the road, you're seeing people that are pulling out in front of you and then doing about 30 miles an hour in a 55. They may be mirroring to you what you are in that moment. We're going to talk about a reflected reality in just a few moments, a reflected reality. Often, the mystery of the first mirror is precisely what's happening. Often we will find people in our presence who are mirroring to us that which we are in the moment, and often that's not the case. And then people say, well, the mirrors don't work. Well, they do work if we have the wisdom to recognize what it is they're saying. A few years ago, I had the opportunity, a rare opportunity, have 3 people come into my life in the same month. Now, that should have been my clue right there. When 3 brand new relationships, very different in nature, all occur within the same month, that's the flag that says something's going to happen here. You better believe it. One of them was potentially a romantic relationship. One of them was potentially a business relationship. One was a mix between a business, a relationship, and a friendship. Each of them came into my life. Each of them came to me. And that should have been the second clue. Each of them found me. These mirrors hold true. Then there's a mirror that's happening here. What are these people showing to me? And I knew that I had to find a common thread. So I began looking at what each of these relationships was demonstrating. And I went through all kinds of possibilities. And when it was all said and done, what I knew that in each relationship, I knew that there were issues of honesty, integrity, and trust were the 3 that were really the most outstanding for me. And so I said to myself, if this mirror holds true, if people that are around me are demonstrating these patterns of behavior, are they showing me that I somehow am lacking in honesty, as Jeff may have thought, or integrity, or trust? Is that what they're showing me? And this feeling welled up inside of me before I even got that sentence out of my head and said, no, that's what this work is all about. That's precisely what this work is all about. And at the same time, there was a realization. It was such a powerful, it was subtle and powerful, that came to me, and I realized that they were not showing me a mirror of what I was in the moment, as we'd always been conditioned, as I'd been conditioned to believe. Rather, they were showing me a more subtle mirror, the mirror of what I judged in that moment. The mirror of what I judged in that moment. And that's precisely what was happening. I had a tremendous charge on honesty and integrity and trust. So I'll invite you, look in your life at the people that you hold most dear, because that's the magnet. That's the magnet. It may be love, it may be that they're family and you don't have any choice. The people that you hold most dear, and then look at the characteristics that they exhibit that just push your buttons right and left. And ask yourself this question, are they showing me in the moment? And if you honestly say the answer to that is no, then ask yourself the question, are they showing me that which I judge in the moment? And you may be surprised at what you find.
Gregg Braden. Gregg Braden din nou printre noi, dar nu spune lucruri necunoscute. Noi știm asta. Eu am adus aici o oglindă. Am o oglindă în care să vă vedeți dumneavoastră. Eu am o relație cu dumneavoastră, știți, de atâta timp. Suntem deja cunoștințe vechi. Și pot să fiu o oglindă pentru dumneavoastră. Adică dumneavoastră când vă uitați la mine să vă vedeți. Vă vedeți? De acolo chiar așa am pus. Vă vedeți în această oglindă, da? Adică dacă, de exemplu, dumneavoastră, nu e cazul nostru, dar dacă dumneavoastră ați fi o persoană furioasă, supărată în anumită zi, trebuie să știți că s-ar putea ca acest lucru să nu vă apară la dumneavoastră, să nu sesizați, să mascați cumva acest lucru, deși acolo clocotește, și eu să fiu nervoasă în ziua aia. Și asta o să vă întrebați de ce doamna doctor Balan este așa nervoasă. Păi sunt nervoasă că sunteți dumneavoastră nervoasă, știți? Și poate sunt o oglindă pentru dumneavoastră în acea zi. Cam așa arată. Adică, cu alte cuvinte, noi avem în poporul nostru acest lucru. Cine se aseamănă se adună. Oamenii furioși adună oameni furioși. De aceea trebuie să fim calmi dacă vrem să fie pace în jurul nostru. Trebuie să începem să vedem că dacă noi nu simțim că este, dacă avem oameni neliniștiți în jur sau oameni furioși în jur, poate că noi suntem așa ca ei și nu știm asta despre noi. Poate nu sesizăm la noi acest lucru, că suntem permanent în interiorul nostru furioși. Și aceasta este prima oglindă. Iar, de asemenea, a doua oglindă, pentru că aici am vorbit în filmulețul acesta de două oglinzi, a doua oglindă, de aceea este și ea interesantă. Știm acest lucru. De ce ți-e frică, nu scapi? Că avem asta în cultura noastră, da? Adică nu suporți un anumit gen de persoane, de exemplu, și îi urăști pe anumite persoane care sunt într-un fel anume. Dar asta ai în jurul tău, pentru că, de fapt, această obsesie de a ta ajunge să atragă acest lucru. Adică te gândești prea mult la ceva și nu vrei anumit gen de persoane în jurul tău, exact ăia vin, exact ăia ți apar. De ce? Pentru că Universul vrea să lucreze, să înțelegi că e nevoie să-i accepti. De cele mai multe ori trebuie să nu ne uităm la defectele altora, știți, cu bârna și cu ochiul, cu paiul. Adică nu trebuie să vedem bârna altora, trebuie să ne uităm la propriile noastre, la paiul altora, să vedem propriile noastre bârne. Adică hai să ne uităm și noi la defectele noastre întâi.
The third seen mirror of relationship is perhaps one of the most commonly recognized mirrors. This is the mirror that we sense every time we find ourselves in the presence of another individual and we look into their eyes, and in that moment this magic happens. This electrical charge tingles through our body. Perhaps the hair on the back of our neck and our arms stands up in the presence of this person whom we may not even know. What has just happened in that moment? Well, through the wisdom of this mirror, we're asked to allow for the possibility that through the course of our lives, in our innocence, to survive life's offering, that we give away huge portions of ourselves in the experience of life itself. That through the course of our lives, pieces of ourselves may be lost unknowingly, or perhaps given away knowingly, or taken from us by those who have power over us. When we find ourselves in the presence of another individual who embodies the very things that we have lost and that we are seeking to find that wholeness in ourselves, our bodies physiologically may respond to that. And we'll know that as a magnetic attraction to this individual. Should you find yourself in the presence of another, and for some unexplainable reason drawn to share time with this individual, ask yourself this question: what is it that I see in this person that I've lost, that I've given away, or that was taken from me? And you may be very surprised at what comes back to you, as the reality occurs that within nearly every individual who you will ever encounter, you will recognize this familiarity, and you will sense this piece of yourself, because we see it in one another throughout our lives. The third mystery of relationship. I said, Father, I ask for the wisdom to understand what is it that I feel in my body. When you ask a question like that, whoever you believe you're asking that question to, you're expecting an answer. And rather than answer, I got a question back. So they were making me work. And the question simply said, what is it about this woman that you miss? And I hadn't really thought about what it was, I just knew that I missed her. And I began thinking about all the things that we had shared and all the conversation that we'd had the night before and all at the cafe, all through the lunch hour. And of the many things that had happened, what I knew was that I really missed her innocence. There was an innocence about her, a sense of awe and wonder. And this was big for me at this time in my life, because I had gone through the academic world, the sacred journey of academia. I'd spent quite a bit of time in the corporate world, and there's a trade-off, and I know that you know this, that as we remember, as we develop the knowledge in our lives, we lose that innocence. And I'd become aware of that.
Ce putem comenta este că și acest aspect este cunoscut nou, și anume nimic nu este întâmplător. Știți că se întâlnesc cu oameni și pot să fie așa, relații de prietenie, pot să fie relații de iubire, pot să fie relații de afaceri, și la un moment dat ai sentimentul că persoana din fața ta nu e acolo întâmplător și că o cunoști de mult și că e ceva acolo, știți, un magnetismul acesta. Are, de fapt, Această întâlnire nu este întâmplătoare pentru că are un sens, și anume al cunoașterii, al evoluției împreună, poate. Acum ne atragem unii pe alții ca să evoluăm, deci, împreună. Ne dăruim unii altora. S-ar putea, ce dăruim? Dăruim bucăți, de fapt, pierdute din noi, uitate, părăsite. Ca într-un puzzle. E ca și când ne refacem puzzle-ul vieții și luăm o bucățică de la diverse persoane pierdute, rătăcite, și ca să devenim întregi. Schimbul acesta energetic, pentru că este o energie, iubirea este o formă de energie, prietenia este o formă de energie, relaționarea este o formă de energie, este magnetic cu acele persoane care au acea bucățică din puzzle de care noi avem nevoie ca să ne reîntregim. Fie că este vorba, cum spuneam, de ceva foarte palpitant, cum este o relație de iubire, de dragoste, sau este o relație pur și simplu de prietenie între cele două persoane.
The fourth mystery, the fourth seen mystery of relationship, is a mystery of a little bit different quality. Through the course of our lives, often we will adapt patterns of behavior that become so important to us that we will rearrange the rest of our lives to accommodate this pattern of behavior. When we find ourselves in this situation, often these patterns are identified as compulsive or addictive patterns of behavior. And the fourth mystery of relationship is the mystery that allows us to see ourselves in the presence of addiction or compulsion. Through addiction and compulsion, what happens is that we find ourselves giving away, little by little, the very things that we hold most dear in life. And in the giving away, little by little, we have the opportunity to recognize and see ourselves as we lose the things that we hold most dear. So, for example, when we speak of addiction and compulsion, many people immediately bring to mind alcohol or chemicals or nicotine. And those certainly are patterns of behavior that may be addictive and compulsive. And there are others that are less obvious. Issues of control in a corporate or a family environment. The addictions to sex, always having to have sex, or always having to have money or create money. Or abundance in our lives. Those are issues of compulsion and addiction as well. When an individual finds themselves in the presence of this pattern of behavior, what they may be assured of, and the beauty of this pattern, is that the pattern does not occur overnight. The pattern unfolds gradually over time, little by little by little. We give away the things that we hold most dear. If we are rearranging our lives to accommodate a pattern of alcohol or chemical abuse, we may be giving away the portions of our lives, our loved ones, our families, our jobs, our very livelihood to accommodate that. And this is the beauty of this pattern, that it may be recognized at any time, rather than taking it to its extreme and losing all. We may recognize this pattern at any time, heal that pattern, and find our wholeness in that healing. That evening, and one of the people in the group looked at this one particular gentleman. He had risen through the ranks of corporate America and was now seated on the Joint Chiefs of Staff. And they said to him, "How did you do this with your life? What is it that had to happen in your life to allow you a position of this magnitude of power and control?" And he was very conscious when he said this. He looked at everyone in the circle as we were there. And he said, "To get where I am today, each time I climbed a rung on the corporate ladder, I gave a piece of myself away. And then I'd climb another rung, and I'd give another piece away." And he said, pretty soon I'd given away everything that I've ever held dear to me, everything I've ever loved. I've given away my friends. He said, I essentially have no friends. I've given away my family. My wife and I are divorced. My children and I don't even speak any longer. And he said it was worth it to me, because in my life, my goal was to have this power and this control. It was worth it. So he was conscious of it, and I was amazed that he was that candid, that he shared that. And I know that we do this, that we compromise pieces of ourselves to survive whatever it is that life offers to us.
Este vorba de oglinda 4, este vorba de tiparul dependențelor și sunt foarte multe persoane cu dependențe, știți, și nu numai dependențele, cum spunea Gregg Braden, nu numai dependențele acestea de tutun, alcool, droguri, știți, femei și așa mai departe, dar este vorba și de dependențe mai complicate, mai subtile, cum este, de exemplu, acel al controlului, al controlului exagerat pe care l-au anumite persoane. Este, de fapt, dependențele sunt un fel de blocaje, sunt un fel de stări de incomplet pe care tu le ai, că de aia ai nevoie de un fel de cârjă emoțională, cum este, de exemplu, alcoolul. Adică bei că nu ți-e bine, da? Faci anumite lucruri că nu ți-e bine. E un fel de completare această cârjă. Acum, formele de putere și control, că astea sunt mai subtile și pe acestea nu le vedem. Dependența de bani, știți că dependența de abundență, sunt persoane care nu se simt bine decât când au abundență în jur și este bine așa, dar este deja ceva obsesiv. Sunt tipare care, de fapt, nu te lasă liber. Tu îți pierzi pur și simplu libertatea în aceste dependențe, îți pierzi propria libertate, propriul spațiu. De ce? Pentru că nu poți fără ele. Și atunci depinzi de ceva, ești robul, cum ar veni, acestor dependențe pentru care ajungi să sacrifici tot în viața ta. Ajungi să sacrifici familie, ajungi să sacrifici spațiul tău personal.
The fifth pattern of relationship, the fifth seen mirror of relationship, for me, perhaps is the single most powerful pattern. It, I believe, allows us to see more and to a greater level why we've lived the kinds of lives that we've lived, perhaps than any other. It is the mirror that our parents show to us through the course of our lives and the time that we spend with them. Through this mirror, we're asked to allow for the possibility, to entertain the possibility that perhaps, just perhaps, the actions of our parents toward us are mirroring our beliefs and our expectations of what may be the most sacred relationship we'll ever know in our lifetimes, and that is a relationship between us and our heavenly mother and father, or the male, masculine, female, feminine aspect of our Creator, however that's viewed. I did a workshop in Mount Shasta a few months ago, and we did this program, and we came to this part of the process. And there were about 230 people in the room, and there was a gentleman who raised his hand and he said, "This is ridiculous. This does not work for me at all." So right there I knew that something was going to happen. And I invited him and I said, "Are you comfortable sharing this with 229 other people in the room?" And he said, "Sure." He said, "This mirror doesn't work for me at all. Just no way." And I said, "Tell me about your father." And he says, "I don't know anything about my father. I never knew my father. He left before I was born. I don't know who my father is." And I said, "Tell me how you view your heavenly Father." And he says, "There is no God. I don't believe in God." And I said, "The mirror stands. The mirror stands. By having no father in your life, the man that deserted you mirrored, even at that young age, your belief and your expectation that there is no Father in heaven, and now your life path has been spent seeking to prove or disprove that. You now have had to come to terms within yourself as to whether or not there is a Father in heaven. And by your father leaving you early in life, he pushed you to the edge of who you believed you were and asked you to redefine that." And he said, "Oh my God." It's the first time he had seen it that way.
Această oglindă este a relației noastre cu sursa. Și pentru ființa umană, sursa este foarte complexă. Noi suntem pe de o parte ai părinților noștri, dar suntem și ai părinților noștri cerești. Mamă și tată, adică Dumnezeu și pământul, adică Gea, adică Terra. De asemenea, imaginea Fecioarei Maria, care este reprezentantul părții feminine ale noastre. Pe de altă parte, părinții nu îi pot schimba. Așa se spune, că nu poți să schimbi părinții tăi. Și totuși, la nivel spiritual, îi alegem. Pentru că noi alegem să avem o experiență de părinți, copii cu aceste suflete. Uneori e confruntant, pentru că la nivel spiritual trebuie să știți, ei ne iubesc necondiționat și pe de altă parte acceptă totuși relații dezastroase, fiu-mamă sau să zicem fică-tată, în care suferim reciproc. Practic este un angajament spiritual de evoluție a sinelui și de cele mai multe ori ego-ul nostru, pentru că aici cu ego avem probleme, nu prea știe ce alege sufletul. Putem să avem alegeri și putem să avem situații în viață pe care sinele nostru le alege într-un mod voit pentru evoluția lui personală și ego-ul să nu fie de acord cu aceste alegeri. La nivelul sinelui este un lucru de salt spiritual, la nivelul ego-ului este un dezastru.